Oh, what a beautiful Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome into Morning JOX. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you for the next hour as I'm going to try to piece this morning together because I'm not going to lie. I don't really know what to do with myself right now. I'm just going to explain this really quick, and then we'll get into, Auburn and Vanderbilt and all that good stuff. And we're going to talk some college football today because we haven't done that in the last couple of days, and I want to talk some college football, so we're going to do that as well. I'm sorry. I just have to share this, though. So we get in the studio before the show, getting everything set up. And so I'm sitting here at the computer and, normally it's been logged, whatever, you got to log in, all that good stuff. Not this morning because it had been running a video feed. I mean, over 12 hours, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm just, I don't know. But I'm looking at it right now. It was just pulled up a live stream of a pregnant horse. And it's like in its stable. And it's just a live cam of this horse. It is in front of me right now.
Like just the horse.
Yeah, it's just the horse in its stable. And it's obviously pregnant. I mean, it's gonna pop any second, but like Yeah, I'm so confused. And see, now everybody in the comments is like, oh, I just woke up to this and she still doesn't get, like, people, I guess, are like leaving this on while they sleep and then waking up to check on. I'm sorry. I a little beside myself this morning. I was just very confused coming in here and I was, asking Damien. I was like, oh, I mean, you got to be. This is a joke, right? Like, oh, okay, haha, you came in here and put something funny on the, whatever. He's like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. So, Okay. Anyways, yeah, pregnant horse watch. We'll let you know what's going on there with that one, but that was certainly not how I expected my morning to start here on the show. But we're going to find a way to power through nonetheless. So let's move to college basketball. I'm sorry, I just can't get over that. It's so bizarre. But let's get to some college basketball because last night you did have two games in SEC country. So you had Auburn and Vanderbilt in action, then Arkansas and LSU. So unfortunately for Auburn, I think many of them were surprised like I was this morning to see the pregnant horse feed with the outcome of last night's game. So Auburn, they were at home in Neville Arena, as we know, right, over the last, I would say really 7-8 years now of college basketball, really since they kind of came on the scene when they made that first Final Four run. I think everybody would have said Neville was probably the hardest place to play in the SEC and one of the hardest in the entire country. And unfortunately, right now for Auburn, it's just not necessarily it's not the case as much as it has been in the past. So Vanderbilt, they get the win 84-76 last night over the Auburn Tigers. And in a lot of ways, right, they kind of beat Auburn, at their own game, right? Like they didn't shoot lights out from deep. But they were efficient. They didn't turn the ball over at a high clip. Neither did Auburn. But they were elite at getting to the free throw line and hitting their free throws. And that's what Auburn's been really good at. Auburn has been the best team in the entire country this year at drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. That's kind of their bread and butter. And last night, Vanderbilt, they did that in spectacular fashion. So Vanderbilt, they go 26 of 30 on free throws on the night. For comparison, that's 87%. For comparison, Auburn goes 21 of 27. So again, like a solid night for Auburn. But I mean, that's impressive stuff there for Vanderbilt to be able to hit those shots. And I mean, they missed a couple late, like at the very end of the game. I mean, at one point, I think they were 18 of 18 on free throws in the second half. And then they missed a couple, in the final 2 minutes. But it was certainly very, very impressive to see how they took care of business there. Can't say enough about Tyler Tanner, man. He took over that game last night. If you don't know who that is, it's the guy that looks like Corbin Blue out there on the basketball court. Am I wrong?
Until you said it out loud, I hadn't thought about that. But you are correct.
It's the hair.
It's the hair.
It's the hair.
It's the hair.
I'm sorry. Anyone over older than us probably doesn't know who that is, but
stick to the status quo.
Nonetheless. But Tyler Tanner was great last night. 25 points. 6 assists, 4 boards there for the Commodores, only 1 turnover for him. So he was very good. Jalen Washington added 22 points for Vanderbilt as well. And all in all, they had 4 guys in double figures. But not a great night for Auburn again. I mean, Todd Pettiford, I think that was the bright spot, is now you've had back-to-back games with this in Alabama against, good opponents where he's had some of his better games. He didn't, shoot the ball great from deep, only 1 of 6 from the three-point line. But 7 of 18 overall, 21 points on the night, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, only 1 turnover. You'll take that, right? Like, this is the Todd Pettiford that we all thought we were going to see at the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, now for Auburn, while it looks like maybe Pettiford's turning a corner a little bit, now there's frustrations and seem to be some issues with the guy that had taken the Todd Pettiford role, and that's Keyshawn Hall. So he had 13 points last night. Do you want the glass half full or glass half empty, Damian?
I go half full.
Half full? Every shot that he made from the floor last night was a three-pointer.
Okay, so what's the half empty part?
He shot 3 of 13. But every shot that he made was a three-pointer.
Gotcha.
So that's, I guess, a little bit of grain of salt when you go 3 of 5 from deep. But, I mean, again, he played 26 minutes. You saw in crunch time down the stretch. He wasn't on the floor. He was not on the floor. And I know a lot of people last night on social media were starting to maybe turn on him a little bit and criticize him for, this style of basketball he plays, essentially, where it's, I don't like using this word, but kind of a selfish player in the sense of he's focused on, he's trying to get buckets. And to be fair, right, I mean, he's averaging 20 points a game. Like, you get it, but, maybe be more of a facilitator. I just saw a lot of people criticizing him for not playing good team basketball.
Yeah.
And I think if you watch him play, he's got a...
And his demeanor as well.
Yes.
He comes off as, one, like, your shots aren't falling. Your first thing would be, hey, let me pass this out of my hand. I got to get it out of my hands. I'm just not feeling it. And like you said, you should start to be in facilitator mode, but he was more of just letting his frustrations come out in other ways, especially on the defensive end. There's a situation with, actually it was on the offensive end. It was an inbound where it was kind of in the midway point of the second half, and Keyshawn Hall was trying to throw it to Todd Pettiford. It ended up going out of bounds, and Todd Pettiford said something to him, and Keyshawn and they had like a little back and forth, and you don't let your frustrations of what your game is individually start to seep on out, because that's when it can become a problem. And it goes back to something that Stephen Pearl had talked about early on in the season, is the leadership. You are the, quote unquote, you are the best player that we have right now, or at least you're the most consistent player that we have. We don't need you to be rocking the boat.
No.
Like, we need you to be kind of the one that's steering the ship of, hey, my shot ain't falling, Todd, go get it. Like, now it's your chance. And I don't know if that's the style in which is best for Keyshawn Hall, but he's going to have to figure it out, because this Auburn team is wasting a lot of talent. Like, the talent is there, and you don't want them to feel like they've left so much out there because of things that they can control, which is kind of the attitude and their effort.
No, I agree with that completely. And we'll let you hear from Stephen Pearl here coming up in just a second about the Keyshawn Hall situation. But Auburn did have 5, every starter scored in double figures for him last night. And again, Todd Pettiford led the way with 21 points. But, I mean, Keyshawn Hall's a guy, again, you look at the rest of the season and getting into conference tournament time, NCAA tournament time, all that kind of stuff, that's a guy you absolutely need. And like you said, the best version of Auburn, and it's just unfortunate that I don't think we've gotten to really see it this year yet, is him and Todd Pettiford in unison, both playing at a high level. And I think that was kind of the bill of goods that we were expecting this year, right? Was, oh, man, you're going to pair one of the best point guards in the country with an elite scorer. And, I mean, that's what you want, right? That's a great situation to have. And unfortunately, it feels like when Pettiford's had a good game, Keyshawn's had a bad game, and vice versa. And granted, Keyshawn's had, I would say more good games this year, but certainly becoming a little bit of a frustration with the fan base nonetheless. But Stephen Pearl last night, after the game, he was asked a question about Keyshawn Hall, his availability, because again, I mean, in crunch time, I know Auburn lost by 8, but I mean, with about 2-3 minutes left to go, right, there was the momentum, right? You had the momentum if you were Auburn. They were able to, did they cut it to, I know they cut it to 6. I'm trying to remember if they cut it to 4 at one point, but I mean, it was like they had the momentum. They were going to come back and they were, making things very interesting, and Keyshawn Hall was nowhere to be found on the court. So this is Stephen Pearl after the game last night on his leading scorer and why he only played 26 minutes.
Yeah, I just went with the guys that I thought put us in the best position to get back into the game, and we ended up cutting it to 4, and that group did a really good job of just grinding and fighting and clawing back in. And Vanderbilt did a really good job every time Key had the ball, just like plugging the paint, and made it really difficult for him. And our offense wasn't really in sync when he was on the floor, so wanted to give us a different look, and went with those guys. And I thought we had a lot of good minutes from Elijah. I thought Elijah played well. Obviously, he didn't shoot it great, but got 8 big rebounds, and was really aggressive. And it was just it was a coach's decision. I just wanted to go with the group that I thought was going to help us get back into the game.
So there you go. That is Coach Stephen Pearl on his decision to keep Keyshawn Hall on the bench. And I mean, I think we can read out that's coach speak for the 5 guys that I had on the court were playing better team basketball together, and they were flowing, and I wasn't going to mess with that. And I think as a coach, that was the right call. So we'll see how he responds to that. Stephen Pearl did get teed up with about 2 minutes left. He talked about that after the game too, and it was funny because he's like, I mean, I guess I cussed, but he's like, well, I was mic'd up this game, so I guess I can go back and check and see what I said. But it was kind of funny. But he gets teed up. I have to imagine it was something from really when the game, Auburn had made that surge at the end, and then you had that foul that was called on Williams Adams against Tanner, where I wouldn't have called that personally. But that was a situation where Auburn could have gotten, could have continued to put a dent in the lead, but it allowed Auburn to go, or Vanderbilt, to go and shoot free throws, kind of extend their lead, and then like one trip down the court later, Stephen Pearl gets teed up, and then that was kind of it. So, but it was, again, impressive win for Vanderbilt, their first win on the road at Auburn since February of 2016, 10 years since Vanderbilt had won at Neville Arena. And it's the first time that Auburn's lost back-to-back home games at Neville Arena since February of 2021. So certainly a disappointing night if you're an Auburn Tigers fan, and a very good night if you are a Vanderbilt Commodore fan. So Vanderbilt now 20-4 on the season, 7-4 in SEC play. Auburn, they are now 14-10, 5-6 in SEC play, and they have unfortunately lost 3 games in a row, putting themselves in a little bit of a bind here. But the good news is you have a big opportunity to respond this weekend against a team that you smoked earlier in the year. So you're going to go on the road to Fayetteville, so it will be a road game, but to take on a ranked Arkansas team that you beat by 22 points earlier this year. So maybe that's what Auburn needs to get things back on track. And then you got Mississippi State, Kentucky. So you've got some games coming up there if you are a fan of the Auburn Tigers, but unfortunate, disappointing loss for them, 84-76 to Vanderbilt last night. Speaking of Arkansas, quickly, what was going on last night? They took care of business big time. They absolutely whooped LSU 91-62. Wasn't even close. 42-27 at halftime. Arkansas scored 49 in the second half, so they absolutely took it to the Bengal Tigers last night. And then tonight, in SEC country, you have the Alabama Crimson Tide, and a game that I'm sure many people will be interested in because it will be their first game without Charles Bediako since his return. So like the 17th game without him this year, but
yeah,
people seem to forget that. But he will not be playing tonight, but that'll be a 6 o'clock tip. Alabama, Ole Miss there in Oxford. You also got Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Mizzou, Texas A&M on the docket for
Florida,
tonight.
Georgia. Line. I didn't realize they were playing tonight.
Okay.
Oh, you saying it?
Yeah, no.
I didn't.
You think they'll be there? Do they get together for these events? Well, they're not friends anymore,
football,
aren't they?
Just football, not basketball.
Are they? They don't like each other, right?
They're working it out.
They're working it out.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good there. Okay, some of you. Okay, I apologize if we had audio issues for some of you. Some people saying they couldn't hear any of the Stephen Pearl comments. So essentially, what he said about Keyshawn Hall was that he stuck with the 5 guys on the court who he thought were playing the best team basketball, and they were playing better with that group on the floor. So he stuck with it because he felt like that gave him the best chance to win. So that's apologize for that, but that's what you would have heard there. So that's kind of your recap, everything going on with the Auburn Tigers. Their next game again Saturday on the road against Arkansas. Alabama, Ole Miss coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. But that's enough college basketball. As I said, I want to talk college football. And I know it's the preseason, so we've got to, got to have some fun with some things. But how about we take a look at the early Heisman list for next year? And the reason for this is because I have come up with 3 different tiers for SEC players. And I'm going to get y'all to tell me, do you agree with where I have these players? And there's a couple that I think could belong in the conversation, but I don't know where to put them. So I'm going to need some help with that. So let's talk some college football as we roll along here on a Wednesday morning on JOX. 621, welcome back in here to Morning JOX on your Wednesday morning. JOX, you can check us out obviously on the radio. You can check us out on the JOX app, on YouTube, JOX TV as well. And we appreciate you making us a part of your morning each and every day right here on the show. And before we get into college football, because it's been a couple days, we need to lighten the mood a little bit and talk about as great as, the Super Bowl. Well, Super Bowl wasn't great, but as great as the NFL is and college hoops and all that stuff going on, at the end of the day, it's not college football. So we'll dive into that here in just a moment. But do want to remind you quickly about something special coming up this Sunday. So Valentine's Day is on Saturday, so go and spend that with your loved one. And then the next day, go support your UAB Blazers because they're hosting the Bartow Classic at Bartow Arena this Sunday, February the 15th, when they will host their rival Tulane Green Wave. Tickets are available right now at uabsports.com. You can get 2 tickets and 2 $10 concession vouchers for a grand total of $45, and $2 from every ticket sold for the game is going to go to the Gene Bartow Fund for Cancer Research. So if you don't have plans, make sure to get out to Bartow Arena on Sunday for the Bartow Classic UAB versus Tulane. And again, you can get your tickets online at uabsports.com. All right, so I told you we were going to take a quick look at the Heisman conversation and for next year. And again, I know it's early, but I thought it was kind of an interesting springboard for, again, I put together some tier lists in terms of, I guess, again, we are 6.5 months from the start of the season, so a lot can change between then and now. But who I would think the front runner should be in the Southeastern Conference heading into the season. Nonetheless. But let's start off with this because ESPN, they did put out their way too early Heisman candidates. And so that's kind of what got me thinking about this. And a lot of these guys, I mean, fairly, there's some SEC representation, but maybe not as much as you would have seen in years past. So at the top of the list for ESPN, they have Jeremiah Smith, the greatest football player of all time.
That figures.
Greatest to ever do it. So not a big surprise there that he's at the top. And then right with him, like a 1A, 1B kind of thing is obviously going to be his quarterback, Julian Sayin, who the former Alabama product, right? We could say that. But I mean, he was incredible last year. His first year as a starter, 78% completion percentage, 31 touchdowns, 6 picks, 3,300 passing yards. So it makes a lot of sense that he would be up there along with Jeremiah Smith, right? Because if Julian Sayin has a great year, probably means Jeremiah Smith had a great year and vice versa. So no surprise to see a couple of Buckeyes there at the top of the list. Also not surprised to see Dante Moore there at the top of the list because he was going to be, according to most experts at least, probably the second quarterback drafted in this year's draft if he were to enter. But he decided to come back for one more year at Oregon. And, I mean, he had 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He was a really special player last year. So certainly another prime candidate there for the Heisman conversation. Now we have our first SEC player. Any guesses, Damian, just off the top of your head right now, if you were to say this is the one SEC guy that has the best chance of winning the Heisman, who would it be? Or who do you think they picked? How about that?
Let me see. I'm gonna say Arch Manning.
It was not Arch Manning, actually.
Are you serious?
He is not the first one on the list from the SEC. I'm sure he's on here. He is. I've looked at it. It's Gunnar Stockton.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So he is right behind Julian Sayin and Dante Moore on the list here, according to ESPN. But I think we all agreed, right? Like he, first off, in terms of just the kind of guy you want to play the quarterback position, that is just, he's just tough, gritty. He's going to do what it takes to win. I don't think anybody's denying that defines Gunnar Stockton, but definitely a threat with his legs as well. We saw, at times last year, and especially in the latter half of the season, he really came along as a passer, I thought. But, I mean, still, you go back to earlier in the year and that throw against Tennessee. I know we've talked about that a lot, but, I mean, there were some really, really high highs for him in Georgia this year. They came up short in the CFP, but I certainly think if you're telling me that was – the first year version of Gunnar Stockton, and now we're going to get to see him with a whole nother year, all the experiences from this past season on the field. I think he's going to be having a very special season. All right, next up on the list, not a big surprise, we got Malachi Toney, wide receiver from Miami. I think we all remember how special he was and how big of a factor he was on their run to the national championship game So not a huge shock there. Then we get to Arch. You knew he was going to be on the list.
Of course.
And deservedly so, right? I think he really did. I mean, I was very critical of him in the first half of the season, and I think he deserved to be criticized because he didn't play well. But he really did show a lot of development, a lot of progress in the second half of the year. So if he can continue that in the offseason, yeah, I think Arch absolutely deserves to be up here. We have at least what I believe to be the most expensive player in college football next. That's Brendan Sorsby. Making what, $6.5 million?
Yeah, he's the wealthiest.
I would say he's probably making the most money this year, at least that we're aware of. Darian Mensah at Miami, another guy making a lot of money. He's on the list.
I thought he was at Duke.
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Not anymore. He decided to leave.
Gotcha.
He decided to leave.
Lawsuits, you know.
And then we've got Trinidad Chambliss.
Is he going to play? I thought he was going to the NFL. And I'm saying that as an Ole Miss fan.
Hey, if Charles Bediako can't play, I don't want Trinidad to play. I'm just kidding.
That's all the Ole Miss does is cheat.
That's right.
That's all they do.
Steal, cheat, and be scandalous. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, if he does come back for 2026, I would have him as in my personal opinion, he would be number one on my list from the SEC.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I know you had a lot to do with his development.
Thank you.
But then as we go down the list, right, you've got some other names. Like you've got, and I still don't know how to pronounce his name, but the kid from California, the Kiwi Sagapalutele. I don't know if that's how you say his name. That's my best attempt. But he was the quarterback for Cal. He's a five-star kid. There was a freshman last year and had some. Hey, look, if you can have a pretty successful freshman season under Brian Harsin, like you're probably pretty good, in my opinion.
Conrad. Stop.
I think that's the one guy that we can all agree that we can
yeah,
we can poo-poo on him a little bit, and literally no one's ever going to defend him in the state of Alabama. It is what it is, though. But you got, some other names, kind of as you go down the list, right? You've got your DeMond Williams at Washington, a Drew Mestamaker at Oklahoma State. One name that I think is maybe a little too far down the list, though, is CJ Carr at Notre Dame, because I think, first off, I think Notre Dame's pissed off, and I know we kind of joke about it a lot. I do think they're going to be really, really good next year, and he was a really good player this year as a first-year starter. So I would have him up there as well. But interesting, you look at, some of the honorable mentions on the list. Cam Coleman's on there as an honorable mention.
The Auburn receiver?
Yeah, the Auburn guy.
But he's at he's at Texas now.
Yeah,
Texas,
he is.
My apologies.
He is. Let's see, Nate Frazier, Georgia running back. He's an honorable mention.
Over Ahmad Hardy?
Ahmad Hardy, he was on the list, like at the very bottom of the list.
Yeah.
I was saving that for him, but yes, Ahmad Hardy is also there on the list for ESPN. Lenore Sellers is an honorable mention as well because again, that's a guy that
he took a step back.
He did take a step back, but if he takes 2 steps forward, then maybe we're where we thought we were going to be last year.
Right.
And that's how that works. So that's just kind of a quick look. I just wanted to give you an overview quickly of what. This the kind of, I guess, the quick ESPN, this is who they have on the list. And a lot of those names, again, aren't going to surprise you. It's the quarterbacks of the best teams in the country. I don't think that's going to shock anybody. But I want to look at just the SEC now. And as I told you, I had 12 names. Well, I guess 13 technically because one's an either or kind of a deal. But I picked about a dozen players from the SEC that I all think you can make a strong argument for why they would be in the conversation going into the season. And I've tried to put them into tiers. And so I'm going to let Damien and I'm going to let y'all tell me if you agree, disagree, you think I'm stupid, you think I'm overrating this guy, underrating this guy, whatever. That's what we're going to do next. So we'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on the SEC Heisman frontrunners. I know it's early, but it's college football. Let's have a little fun here. 205-834-9450 if you want to chime in, and I'll give you my tier list next on JOX. Welcome back into Morning Jocks. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you until 7 o'clock when we'll hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. The horse is still pregnant, people. The horse is still pregnant. We have not had a birth yet. It's 6:35. The horse is still pregnant. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's a very startling scene when I showed up to work this morning and I logged onto the computer. Well, I didn't have to log on because it had been running all night on a live stream that, look, I'm not making any accusations. I just know that when I left yesterday, the last person I saw sit in the seat, I'm just connecting some dots here. And then I get here this morning and I show up and there's a live stream that's been running, I assume, all night of a pregnant horse. And that's it. It's just literally a video camera on a pregnant horse. And it is still pregnant, though. That was the whole point of that.
Gotcha.
So if you were curious for an update, the horse is still pregnant. But let's continue on with this Heisman conversation. If you're just now joining us, we ran through ESPN. They put together a list of kind of their top early preseason Heisman candidates. And so I ran through some of the big names there on the list. And now I want to go through just the SEC. So we just looked at the entire country. Now I want to focus on the SEC. And who are the guys that maybe, obviously there's some that are going to come to mind, right? We already talked about Trinidad, Arch, those are the guys that people are going to think of first. But who are some guys that could maybe be like a little bit of a dark horse, right? I don't think that anybody thought Ty Simpson would be, a Heisman, someone in the Heisman conversation for a good chunk of the season, but that's where he found himself. Now, at the end, not so much, but, who are those kinds of guys, right? Where we look up in the middle of October or early November, we go, man, that person's having a really nice year. Why are we not talking about them more? So we'll start off. I have 3 tiers here. So the first tier, again, speaks for itself. Trinidad, Gunnar Stockton, and Arch Manning. I think those are clearly the top 3 guys right now from a preseason perspective. Trinidad will be number 1 easily if he comes back. I think Gunnar Stockton, again, if he's able to build on what he did this year and get a little more consistent in the passing game, then I do think that he'll certainly have a great opportunity. And then Arch, right? With everything that Texas put around him, all the money they've spent, the way you saw him grow in the second half of the season, if that continues, I would say that he's probably the betting favorite, right? A lot of people want to buy into that hype again. So those are my 3 guys I have in tier 1. Do you think any of those guys don't belong in that group, or do you think maybe there's somebody that should be added to that group?
No, I think you got it right.
Okay.
I think you got it right.
Okay. So now we'll go on to tier 2. This is going to be fun. And this is somebody, we'll start off with this guy because some people have already been texting and asking, why did you not bring this guy up? And he was down on the list on ESPN, but I have him in tier 2. I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. Marcel Reed. Because, again, I feel like that's a guy different than Ty, but in the same sense of, like, about 2/3 of the way through the season, we were going, man, this is incredible. And then the last month of the season or so was, ooh.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think you're far-fetched because when he's on, it's beautiful to watch. It really is. But when he's off, it looks very Kellen Mondish.
Yeah, and see, that's where
it's boom or bust.
I had considered putting him in tier 3, but I didn't want John Mack to be mad at me this morning.
No, I think his upside is really it's up there because he's a dual threat guy. It's just he has to
the other side of that is
he got to stop making bonehead decisions. Yeah. That's all it is. Talent-wise, he's got it. He can make every throw on the field. He's elusive enough. I don't think Texas A&M put him in a lot of good positions where, again, I know he's small in stature, but he's got to be able to use his legs.
Yep.
He is an added piece to what is already an effective run game. I don't think that is a far stretch. Okay. I wouldn't think that's a stretch at all.
All right, how about this one? In tier 2, I also have Byron Brown.
I don't think that's a stretch at all. If he clicks.
That one is a very much a, if he is somehow able to do what he did at USF, at Auburn.
It's no question.
Then I think it's very fair placement, and some people would argue he should maybe be up a spot.
No, he would be the best quarterback in the SEC if he does what he did at a USF.
Okay, there you have it. Damian Mitchell. All right, also in tier 2, and I think you could argue tier 3 again, but it's one of those situations. when you're the quarterback of this team, you're going to be in the conversation. So I have Austin Mack / Keelan Russell in tier 2 as well. Because again, I think like Ty Simpson, we weren't talking about it a lot, but we forget you're the quarterback of the University of Alabama. If they have a good season now, you're going to be in that conversation, right? That wasn't necessarily the case 15 years ago, but now it is. And that it goes for all these teams, right? If you're a college football playoff team, your quarterback is probably somewhere in the conversation. Like, that's just the way that it works. Now, will Alabama be a playoff team next year? I don't know. But I do think both of those guys, again, they're in tier 2 because, first off, we don't know who the starter is going to be. And, it's fair to say, let's say it's Keelan, right? Young guy. Probably going to have some struggles. Austin Mack doesn't have a lot of playing time. Probably going to be some struggles early on, right? So I'm not 100% confident in that. And that's why I put Byron Brown ahead of them, because I do think that Byron Brown, we know what he can do, right? It's just, can he do it in the SEC? Whereas Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, the potential's sky high, but, I don't know. It could be what, you have no idea what it could be. All right, tier 3.
That's it for tier 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll let you know who I have here, and you can tell me which you want to move around a little bit.
Go ahead, my brother.
All right, so these are not necessarily dark horses, but like they're gonna take a little something to get them up there, in my opinion. All right, this is where I have Ahmad Hardy, and again, my problem with Ahmad Hardy, he's a great player. He was really, really good against not SEC teams last year, and then against the best teams that Missouri played, he struggled, and that's not all on him. Pribula struggled. The offense as a whole struggled. I'm not putting that all on him. But if he's going to win a Heisman Trophy, he has to be more consistent against Missouri's best opponents. And he didn't do that last year. And if he doesn't do that this year, then he's not going to be a real contender, even if he puts up crazy numbers.
That's fair.
Like he did this year. All right, after that, I got our boy.
John Mateer.
I got our boy. And that one's really tough for me because, again, I think that if – I feel like I'm just doing it like out of I'm like personally.
Like I want him to be I want him to be good.
Because I think he can be. I mean, obviously he took him to a playoff, and I know he was injured a lot of the time. So I guess you could say I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I still believe.
Can we get first month John Mateer for the entire season? Because the first month he was cooking.
I wanted him to be on the list.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm going to be honest.
I'm not mad at you.
I wanted him to be on the list.
I would have put him in tier 2.
Okay, you would put him in tier 2?
Yeah.
Mateer?
Yeah.
What about Hardy? You good with where he is?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I understand your logic.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, it's not as much also against, it's just, he's a running back.
He's a running back, exactly.
Like, if you're not a quarterback, it's harder. Correct. Yeah, correct. All right, also in tier 3 for my dark horses, and this is one where, again, I would probably have him higher if he was going to be healthy, but I have Sam Levitt in the dark horse tier, and it's because he's probably going to have to miss at least a game or two at the beginning of the season while he's recovering from injury. And while if he absolutely tears it up after that, yeah, he might find himself in the mix. But typically, I feel like if you miss more than one game, it's really hard to win a Heisman Trophy because other people are just going to put up stupid numbers from the volume that they're going to get that you may not have. So I had him there as well in my tier 3 dark horses. All right, now I've got 2 more names, and I didn't know what to do with them. Kejuan Lacey. Because I can't put him ahead of Hardy, I don't think. But, well, let me ask you this, because you're the Ole Miss guy. Would you like Kejuan Lacey's chances of winning the Heisman more with or without Trinidad? In the sense that I do wonder if Deuce is the quarterback and we see how he can run the football. Mm-hmm. Does it, does that take away from Lacey, or does that just mean they're going to be a ground and pound football team and he's going to be able to go and kind of go crazy?
That is a great question. If Trinidad is not eligible to play, Kejuan Lacey's, I guess, potential goes up.
Okay.
Like because he's going to be the only, I guess
he'd be your best offensive player,
right?
In a lot of people's mind. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not mad at that.
Okay. And then again, I feel like I almost just have to have a tier 4 for this guy by himself. But I felt like I had to put him on there as Sellers, because again, we saw what Lenore Sellers could be. Then we saw what he was last year. And it's hard for me, man, because and we see it with these guys a lot, right? Where I want to believe because the talent is there.
100%.
But it's also my concern is also just South Carolina in general, to be fair. Like, it's him.
Are they going to be good enough for him to even be in the discussion.
Yeah, and is he going to have pieces around him to where he can even flourish?
Yeah.
Like he, especially now because it's like, okay, 2 years ago, we all thought South Carolina was going to be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And they caught everybody off guard, had a great season. Like, they're not catching anybody off guard with Lenore Sellers and Dylan Stewart, right? Like, so I guess that's kind of where I am. So I threw him on there. I think he belongs on there, but I like all the guys I said ahead of Lenore Sellers right now until I see something on the field this fall.
For Lenore Sellers, it's a confidence factor. You're kind of, if we hadn't seen what we saw last season, I think people would still ride high because of just natural ability, talent, and everything that he has going for him.
Absolutely. Well, he's going to be a guy this year that he might be a first-round pick in the draft, right? That's what people are going to say.
It's like Anthony Richardson. He's a freak athlete. He's 100% a freak show, but also he can't out-athlete everybody. Like, he has to be a quarterback, and I'm with you. It's so tough because I don't know where to put South Carolina going into the season.
Yeah,
and if he clicks, it's going to look phenomenal. But if it's not, man, he's the only thing they got going for him.
Yeah. So, again, I think he's talented enough, just natural ability. I had to put him on there, but I feel really good about having him at the bottom for right now. So, but we'll see. That's right. The fall is for, and I can't wait for me and you to be wrong about John Mateer once again. But some of you chiming in with your thoughts on the Heisman list, my rankings, and mine and Damien's discussion, 205-834-9450. That'll get you on the courtesy GMC text line, and we want to hear from you. Your reaction is next on Morning Jocks.
6:50 here on Morning Jocks. Damien and Conrad here with you for a few more minutes as we get you set for McElroy and Kublik in the morning, coming up at the top of the hour. Let me tell you about our friends at Hometown Roofing and Restorations. Trust the experts for your roofing needs. Over 1,200 roofers in the Birmingham area. Make sure you can call somebody you can trust. Hometown Roofers is family-owned, grounded in faith, and community-oriented. Their customer satisfaction focused with your needs in mind. You can count on honest communication. Listen, the goal is to get it right the first time. If it's an insurance claim, call Hometown and they'll take the ball for you. So you don't have to worry about the red tape and back and forth with the insurance company. Only top quality materials. Hometown is certified with 2 of the best national brands of shingle, and they offer lifetime material warranties. Financing is also available. Wonder if you have an aging roof or roof damage? Hometown offers free inspections. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Hometown Roofing and Restoration can also handle siding, windows, gutters, and minor remodels. Give them a call at 205-984-4777 or visit htroofers.com. Again, that number, 205-984-4777 or visit htroofers.com. Hometown Roofing and Restorations. Do it right the first time.
And we appreciate all of you so much every day for chiming in, whether you call in, text in on the Courtesy GMC text line. We love the interaction, and this is why we love college football, right? Because this is like, it's February at 6:50 in the morning, and we got people like taking shots at fan base. Like that's what it's all about, right? That's what we love. Yeah, that's why we love the spirit of college football. So 205-834-9450 if you want to get on the GMC text line here in the final few moments as we head there now. And the first text, fitting, it says, what about tier 10? So I gave you 3 tiers. This guy says tier 10.
Oh, that's like my chances of winning the Heisman if it's tier 10.
Ryan Williams.
Oh, boy. Should have known that was coming. He just had a sophomore slump, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a half of a freshman slump in it.
The tape was out on him, man.
We'll always have that Georgia game.
Always.
Always will have that. This one says Byron Brown had 28 touchdowns in 2025. 21 of those came against South Carolina State, Charlotte, North Texas, FAU, UAB, and Rice. He will be a rung below Jackson Arnold in the SEC next year.
Don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful.
I just read them.
Listen, I understand. I understand the quality of competition that he was dealing with in the American, but I'm telling you, I mean this with 100% certainty. If he puts up anywhere near the numbers that he did at USF, I'm telling you, he will be the best quarterback in the SEC. No ands, ifs, or buts, even above Trinidad Chambliss. I love Trinidad, but I'm telling you, Byron Brown is that dude. Also,
don't say never do anything for you Auburn fans because I'm about to defend you. He had 42 touchdowns last year, not 28.
Come on now.
He did have 1,000 rushing yards and 14.
Come on now.
Rushing touchdowns. That's part of the.
Byron Brown, one of them ones.
He's not on the list because I think he's going to be a statue back there.
Right.
No,
this is going to be close.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
Had y'all uncomfortable in the fourth quarter.
Well, you also got like a 5'4" dude on the defensive line that just literally squeezed it like Flat Stanley through the offensive line and just.
My boy said Flat Stanley.
You remember that?
Yeah. That is. Man, you're showing your age, bro.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
I hadn't heard that in a long time.
I got a funny story I'll tell you about that in the break that wasn't funny for somebody else, but it was funny for me. Let's see. Fanboy chimes in. He says, man, you and Damien with the John Mateer hype last summer was the funniest thing ever, and look at y'all now. And you know what? I'm doubling down. What do I have to lose? I don't care.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, and
are you going to hold that against me? Hey, that's the guy that liked John Mateer too much back in the day.
All right. The man threw for 300
that's
with
fine.
A broken hand against Auburn, won the football game. He's 1-1 against Alabama. So the record kind of speaks for itself. Now, yeah, he may not have won the Heisman, been in contention, but when he was on, he was on. Now, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, don't.
I'm with
Don't
you.
drag my boy's name through the mud,
That's
man.
what I'm saying. I'm with Moneyline Mateer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rocking with him.
This guy says, Damien, I think you might be able to win the Heisman before Ryan Williams.
Well, if I dust off some eligibility and get a temporary restraining order, I might have a chance. But who wants a 5'7", 170-pound receiver at this day and age? I'm 30.
We'll find somebody.
Well, 29.
You're not yet. Let's see. This one says, this kind of talk in February is more the reason to never talk basketball in November. Oh, this is the guy that doesn't like basketball.
Yeah,
talk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Football year round.
Well, guess what? You had to deal with basketball in November, and people are having to deal with football and basketball season, so we're even now. And you're still listening, so it's fine. Don says, good morning, guys. Auburn struggling. Just a terrible game last night. Still can't shoot the ball. Too many turnovers. I love Bruce, but it seems to me he left at the wrong time. He left Steven without a team, left him with no one returning. We'll be lucky to make the tournament now.
Lord.
Woo!
NIT, baby.
Don's not happy, and John Mack agrees with us about Marcel Reed.
What?
So, big day for us. We're back tomorrow at 6.